How to fix USB not detected during OS install. Have you ever faced the frustrating issue of your USB drive not being detected while trying to install an operating system? It can be a real headache, but don't worry, we are here to help you troubleshoot this problem step by step. First, let's make sure your USB drive is set up correctly. It needs to be a bootable device, which means it should be prepared using the right tools for the operating system you want to install. For example, Windows, Linux, and macOS each have specific methods for creating bootable USB drives. Using official tools or reliable software is essential to ensure everything is in order. Next, we need to check your computer's BIOS or Unified Extensible Firmware Interface settings. To do this, restart your computer and enter the BIOS setup. You can usually do this by pressing keys like F2, F8, or delete during startup. Once in the BIOS, look for the USB boot option and make sure it is enabled. It is also important to set the USB drive as the first boot device in the boot priority order. Many modern systems use UEFI firmware, which sometimes has secure boot enabled. This feature can block booting from certain USB drives. If you encounter this issue, try disabling Secure Boot and enabling Legacy Boot Mode or Compatibility Support Module. Switching from UEFI to Legacy Mode can help your system recognize the USB drive during startup. If your USB drive still does not show up, try plugging it into a different USB port. It is often better to use a USB 2.0 port instead of USB 3.0, as some firmware versions may not support USB 3.0 during boot. Also, avoid using USB hubs or extension cables, as they can interfere with detection. Another common reason for the USB not being detected is missing or incompatible storage controller drivers during the operating system installation. For instance, if you are installing Windows, it may not detect the hard drive if the necessary serial, advanced technology attachment, or non-volatile memory express drivers are missing. In this case, download the correct drivers from the manufacturer's website, copy them onto a separate USB drive, and load them during the installation process by selecting Load Driver. This allows the installer to recognize your internal storage devices. If you suspect that the USB drive was created incorrectly or is corrupted, reformatting it and recreating the bootable installation media can solve the problem. Use official operating system installation tools or well-known utilities to ensure the USB is properly formatted and contains all the necessary boot files. To summarize, fixing a USB not detected during an operating system installation involves several steps. First, create the USB installation media correctly for the target operating system. Second, enable USB boot and set the USB drive as the first boot device in the BIOS or UEFI settings. Third, disable Secure Boot and enable Legacy Boot or Compatibility Support Module if needed. Fourth, try different USB ports, preferably USB 2.0. Fifth, load the appropriate storage controller drivers during installation if the internal drives are not detected. Finally, recreate the bootable USB if corruption or improper setup is suspected. By following these troubleshooting steps, you can resolve USB detection issues during operating system installation and successfully proceed with setting up your operating system.